Hello guys, and welcome back to our channel. Now, for far too long, Black people have been vocal about the systemic injustices that they face, only to be met with skepticism, dismissal, or even outright hostility. But now, finally, some Pamkala people are starting to get it. They are realizing that their privilege has blinded them to the harsh realities of racism and oppression. Now, as one Pamkala woman in this video eloquently puts it, being an ally isn't about throwing a tantrum when Black people refuse to put their lives on the line to protest. It's about listening, learning, and stepping up to challenge the status quo. It's about recognizing that the time for coming together was at the election, and now it's time to respect the boundaries and resistance of Black Americans. Now, in this video, we're going to take a look at a growing number of Pamkala people who are now waking up to the reality of systemic racism and oppression. They are using their privilege to amplify the voices of Black people, to speak truth to power, and to demand justice. You know, a lot of people have been calling out Black people to go out in the streets and protest, especially with the upcoming protest, which is set for April 5th. A lot of Pamkala people throw tantrums, but I'm just happy that some are now getting it. So with that said, let's get into the videos as they school their own. I'll be right back.
Just a reminder to my fellow white people, you are not an ally if Black men and Black women are telling you that they are not going to protest on April 5th because it will put their lives in harm's way, and you throw a tantrum. Saying, oh, we all have to work together. Shouldn't we all come together, we the people? Don't you care about the future, about the children, about the time to come together was at the election. We failed them. So now, their rest is their resistance, and they are staying home and staying safe as they should because their lives are too precious to put on the line. And what would cost me and people who look like me getting yelled at or at the worst tear gas, which isn't likely, would cost them their physical lives. And they've already been giving those lives for centuries in this country for all the rights that we enjoy. So it is our turn to step up and to speak up. And honestly, if you're telling them that they should go to that protest, you're an op and not an ally.
White people are obsessed with Black people. Two things. Number one, the demographic that is the most afraid of the specific demographic that I'm talking about, they are the only demographic that will go up to the danger because they hate it so bad. Does that even make sense to you? Second thing, the demographic that wants the most attention is the most afraid to be seen. Meaning, when a white person is driving and they notice a Black person is across from them and they are afraid to make a turn, left or right, they are afraid that the Black person is perceiving them and sees them as an idiot, which 9 times out of 10 they are. But at the end of the day, it always rings true. White people are absolutely obsessed with Black people.
Yesterday, my son was playing football at school with some white kids and some Black kids, and one of the Black kids missed a catch. And one of the white kids said out loud, well, I bet if it was a certain type of food, I'm not going to say it, you know what I mean, he would have caught it. And my son got in the car with my wife to go home and asked her what that meant. And it breaks my heart that we continue and will always have to continue to talk about these things with our kids. And it's so important that we do, but it's so sad. Microaggressions, homophobia, humanity, how we treat people. And this stuff is right in front of their face on the football field, in elementary school, good neighborhood. It doesn't matter. It's everywhere. And it made me think of privilege. And it made me think about the fact that I think I've had it wrong. This whole time, my privilege was about money, and it was about getting into college and getting jobs. And it is those things. But what I don't think I really understood was that privilege was going through my entire life, never having to know what that kid felt like.
We're not mad enough yet to take to the streets en masse and protest what is being taken from us? Like they are in Europe, where they understand the price that will be paid if they do not stand up now. So much of what we have taken for granted here in America is truly being ripped away from us, and I know most of you understand that. But it is time for us to speak with our feet and go into the street. If you are not mad enough, let's add this fuel to the fire. The Trump administration deported a Venezuelan man from the United States to El Salvador, where he will be put in a prison camp that will make money for the El Salvadorian government from us. our tax dollars are going to be a profit incentive to enchain a man in a foreign country he is not from. Does that not disturb you to your core? Why was this man deported? Because he was seeking political asylum. Something the United States has long held as a torch and beacon of who we are, as a source of liberty, of protection from political tyranny. Why was he singled out? Because of his tattoos. A man was robbed of his freedom and life and striving to be here because of a misinterpretation of his tattoos. I will remind you that Donald Trump and Elon Musk are constantly telling us that we're simply misinterpreting their salutes, their symbols, even Donald Trump's words. Well, I didn't mean I'd fix the war in Ukraine in 24 hours. I was being sarcastic. You cannot take what I say seriously. Elon says you cannot take my salute seriously or the symbols I post on social media. Yet they are saying a man's tattoos that aren't even a symbol of being a gang can be misinterpreted to the point of his liberty being taken from him. No evidence of a crime. Nothing that would stand up in court. Where are you, MAGA? Where are you, 2As? Where are you to scream that the big brother, the United States government, has showed up with armed men in masks and begging people for no reason and deporting them into a prison camp in a foreign country that we pay for? Because Donald Trump doesn't understand the difference between political asylum and a mental asylum. What part of you could be okay enough with that to continue going on as if nothing is happening? What part of you needs to be woken up to take to the streets to say no? Not only do I see it coming for me, but I will not stand for it happening to somebody else. I will not have the United States dragged into the infamy of evil that is beckoning from Trump. The night is here. It is time for us to fight for the dawn.
Damn, it took long enough for some palm color people to finally get it. I'm not saying all palm color people, but a lot of them have been throwing tantrums whenever black people say they need to rest, that they need to prioritize their own safety and well-being. Like, hello, we've been saying this for centuries, but somehow it takes a few palm color people to echo the same sentiments for others to finally listen. Maybe now that they're hearing it from people who look like them, they'll finally get it. I mean, we're tired of always having to explain ourselves, tired of having to justify our existence, our feelings, and our experiences as black people. We are tired of being met with skepticism, dismissal, and even outright hostility. So to all the palm color people who are finally starting to get it, I say, welcome to the conversation, but don't expect us to be grateful that you're finally listening. Don't expect us to be impressed that you're finally speaking out, because honestly, it's about time. You know, to date, it really surprises me how some of you thought listening to black people would be doing you a favor or assumed this administration's policies wouldn't affect you. Well, newsflash, we are all in this together now. Now, the time for coming together was indeed during the election, but instead, some individuals thought they could just opt out of the impact. It's infuriating to see people still expecting black folks to fix the problems they didn't create. Especially, I have seen this trend, the trend of calling out black people to go and protest a lot with palm color people. The burden of responsibility needs to shift. Like, it's time for those who perpetrated these issues to take ownership and work towards a solution. The reality is, black people have been navigating the challenges of living in a palm color dominated society for far too long. Black people had to develop strategies to cope with the constant scrutiny and stereotypes that come with being black in palm color spaces. It's not about segregation, it's about creating safe spaces where people of color and black people can be themselves without fear of judgment or marginalization. As Kelsey Blackwell so eloquently put it, we need spaces where we can be our authentic selves without palm color people's judgment and insecurity muzzling that expression. So let's get this one thing straight. It's not black people's job to fix this. It's time for those who have been complicit in perpetrating these issues to step up and take responsibility. We need collective action, not just empty words or performative activism. The clock is ticking and you need to go out there and start doing the work, because black people are resting. Like I've been saying, black people are resting, and no black person is going to go out there, because we know how dangerous it is or how dangerous it's going to get when black people go out there. Like, it's always the same story, isn't it? You want black people to put our lives on the front line, to march, to protest, to fight for justice. But this time around, it ain't happening. Black people are tired of being the ones who always have to make things work, who always have to be the ones to make sacrifices. We are tired of being included in the everyone that you claim to care about, only to realize that when push comes to shove, Black people's lives don't matter as much as everyone else's. We are tired of being asked to put our bodies on the line, to face the brutality of the police, to risk our lives for the sake of justice. And for what? So that you can feel good about yourself, so that you can say that you're doing something to help? No. Black people ain't buying it this time. Black people are saying we are not going to keep putting our lives on the line just so that you can feel like you are doing something meaningful. It's time for you to step up. Just like your fellow palm color people are saying in these videos, it's time for you to step up, to take responsibility for your own actions, to fight for justice, because Black people ain't going to do it alone anymore. Black people are not going to be the only ones putting their lives on the line. It's time for everyone else to join, to fight with Black people, to risk everything with Black people. Maybe now that some of the people who look like you are starting to come out and saying this out, maybe, just maybe, we hope that some of you, or many of you rather, are going to understand this and understand the reason behind all of this, because we are tired of seeing a lot of videos calling out Black people to go out there and do the work when you're just there seated, and when you are the same people who put everyone in this same mess. So I don't know, but it's good that some palm color people are now realizing what Black people have been saying. So maybe you can educate your fellow palm color people about this. Maybe they can understand. We have finally come to the end of the video, but what do you, our viewers, have to say? Share your own thoughts as well in the comment section. Thank you for always watching, and see you in our next video.